Hi, this is James Jonas. Today we're going to talk to David McCallum. He's a local social entrepreneur here in Redwood City. David, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, you've done kind of an amazing project here. Can you tell us a little bit about that project here?
Well, been here for 12 years on Redwood Creek, and when we first got here, every square foot had a piece of trash on it. So every square foot from the high tide mark and above down to the low tide mark had a piece of trash on it. Now this little creek is a tidal plain, and it's a 7-foot mean tide, but during a minus tide we have no water in the creek at all. So we've cleaned from the very bottom of the creek to the very top of the creek. And what amazed me when I first got here was that I came down to the creek and I saw this garbage, and I asked one of my neighbors, and I said, what about all this garbage? And he said, it's not my garbage. And this is kind of a rough little area of the world, and I figured, stoned age man, didn't care. So he says it's all coming from upstream. So I went upstream to all the businesses upstream, Toys R Us, the doctor's office is up there, Carl's Jr., and the garbage was just drooling down into the creek. And I asked them, I said, what about all this garbage? You know what they said? Not my garbage, it's coming from upstream. So at that point I went up to a beautiful little group called Redwood City Pride Beautification Committee. And these people go around and they clean up the town. And I went up there and told them about all the garbage in the creek. And I said it was all coming down from the city, and you know what they said? It's not my garbage, it's coming from the next town over, Palo Alto. And it was at this point I realized that these people are not, I know these people aren't bad people, they're great people that go out and do good things, but it's human nature to say it's not my responsibility, it's not my garbage. And so something desperately needed to be done, I felt. And along with a lot of my neighbors, we started this project.
So what was your incentives? Like, why did you do this? What was your big driver here?
Well, I think I thought about this a lot over the years, and what makes me maybe a little different is that my parents traveled a lot, and we traveled around, we camped out, and we hiked into nature, and I've always been the guy that waded upstream and fished and hunted and loved nature and the cleanliness of it. And I've always hated garbage. Even when I was a little kid, I remember picking up and cleaning up creeks. And wherever I've ever lived, I've cleaned up the creeks and the beaches. And so this was, I always thought I'd clean up a creek and that, it'd be clean. But I think maybe the one up above put me on this creek here where it's a constant battle of all the garbage coming down. So it's not just clean it up and it remains clean. And so it's a huge challenge.
So when you in terms of the team you try to put together, was it just local folks, or did you try to involve anybody else on a worldwide basis, or is it local versus global to help you out?
Well, it's very small scale right now, but I've envisioned it to be much bigger. The Bay Area is a huge place, 12 million people. So, I have like large scale, grandiose visions, but I've started so small, and I do have another life, working and family, but there's so much ahead. So I want to grow bigger, but yes, I have twisted the arms of all my neighbors and worn them out and tried to include businesses, but I'm in the early stages of that.
So you had an event that happened real recently. Tell us a little bit about that event.
Oh, well...
what's it called?
I believe it's Romancing the Creek you're referring to, which we've been cleaning the creek for years and years, and every year it's like we have to do more. The garbage is still coming down. So we cleaned the creek. The very first day we got out 38 shopping carts out of the creek in one day. Engines, air conditioners, bicycles, motorcycles. So, now it's just the stuff coming down from the city constantly. And so every year we try to do more and more. And Romancing the Creek was an idea that we came up with to try to get more people involved. And the very first year, about 3 years ago, we had 80 people show up, and we got 6,000 pounds of garbage out of this creek in 2 hours.
6,000 pounds.
6,000 pounds. Last year we had Romancing the Creek 2, and it was during a rainstorm, and I didn't think anybody would show up, and if they did, I was going to take them out and get them wet in my boat and bring them back real quick and have coffee. 80 more people showed up, and it was kind of the tides weren't quite right and the storm was happening, but we still got something like, I think it was like 1,300 pounds of garbage out of the creek in like an hour because we were all freezing.
Wow.
And then last February the 18th, it was a fairly nice day, and we had 80 people show up, and we almost got, I think it was 2 tons of garbage out of the creek in 2 hours. And this is the same creek. We continue, the same area we clean up. So, and that's the Romancing the Creek, and it's beautifully successful, but it needs to be done, more often per year.
So when you came up with this idea, did you want to keep it to yourself, or is it something that you want to tell everybody about? I mean, is it do you want to keep it within a tight knit community, or is it something you want to go global with?
It's funny. We work with these people called Save the Bay, and they came out to help us one year. And they interview, they promote other people who are doing pretty much the same thing. And one of the questions she asked me right away was, "You don't mind if we come down here and help you, do you?" It's like some people are protective of, "Oh no, that's my garbage." Yeah. Like no, please come out.
Yeah, please help.
Please help. So I want to share and I want to promote. And one thing to add to that is that all the hard work and the backbreaking work we're doing almost means nothing in comparison to any way to advertise, to get the message out that this is a huge, I feel, global problem of plastic in our environment. And this creek here just highlights how much garbage comes down. And I call it plastic soup because everywhere you look, there's plastic everywhere.
If we were to invent some magic tools to help you out, like what could be any type of tools that you've come across that helped you get the word out in order to get more people involved in this project, or for you to be able to think through and just describe some of the tools you used out there. How do you get the word out?
Well, this is a developing issue and problem we're trying to solve, which I am not exactly designed to do. My job, I think what I'm good at is rallying people and actually doing the work. So I'm looking for other people who are perhaps in the advertising business or other people with different talents than myself. Although I'm finding I have to learn this myself, I was hoping to get some other people with more knowledge than me involved in that.
So a different skill set is kind of what you're looking for, or a broader network.
Yes.
What type of skills would you be looking for?
Well, that I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm the rally guy. I'm the guy that gets her done, and I'm looking for people who would promote it in any way, fashion, or form. And particularly, it's very hard to get the message out of how much plastic comes down the creek. When the trash is up on the land and you see it in the road, and there's a rainstorm, it goes down the creek. You're like, wow, there it goes. It's gone. Well, it's coming down here. How do I tell people how much garbage? How can I convey this? I think if people knew how much plastic was in this creek, there'd be a huge public outcry. But we have not found a way to convey that yet. One idea I have is to stage a photograph, and my idea would be to block off the creek and catch all the garbage that's coming down after a rain event, and then taking a picture, similar to what they did to the LA River Basin. But we have not accomplished that yet.
So you're asking for help, and you're trying to figure out how to do that. That's
any
what I'm
way
hearing.
possible, from any corner, any ideas, any way at all.
Fantastic, David. So that was David McCallum, Redwood City, local social entrepreneur, and I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Pleasure to talk to you.